Oh, hi, I'm Dave, and I'm writing a book of fables called David's Fables. And this is number 73 of 101, which I've dedicated to Nicola on her birthday, who's a terrific person by all accounts. So this one's called ExplainNation, and it's part of the animal thread. At the far edge of town lies a dense cluster of old stone buildings, the university. Farther out from that, alone and isolated, is the Agricultural Sciences Building, perched on the verge of a nature reserve. Though still early in the morning, Ag Sci is a buzz of activity, for this is a special day. A dozen staff and volunteers are in the cafeteria, putting up decorations, moving tables and chairs, and setting up a buffet. In the loading dock, a large van backs in. The rear doors open, and out jumps a pair of caterers in kitchen garb. They've brought loads of fresh fruit, trays of made-ahead dishes, hot pans, and serving gear. A woman appears on the loading dock with a moving cart. Good morning, Fast and Friendly. Looking great. Good morning, Chancellor Hasenfratz. We got lucky and found excellent produce today. They load up the cart with boxes of food. The caterers present the Chancellor with a large white pizza box and open the top to display a generous selection of sushi. What's this? She asks. A gift for the birthday girl. Ah, we'll see if she enjoys it. If not, the rest of us can, said the happy caterer. The kitchen is a bubble of activity. The chefs prepare a giant salad with large chunks of fruit. Cutting open the durian drives a lot of people out, giving them more room to move. Tubs of honey are scooped into serving bowls. In a hallway inside the building, Devin and his colleague Aaron walk together slowly. We've already intruded so much. There's no going back now, said Devin. I feel responsible too, but I can't let this take over my life, she replies. They pause at the door leading to the outside. Ennui is an insidious thing. Let's hope this works, he says. She smiles and nods warmly in obvious admiration. Okay, here we go, she says and heads outside. He strides off to the cafeteria. There the setup and decorations are done. Happy 40th reads a big banner. As he enters, a communal shh fills the place and all goes quiet. Everyone backs into corners and other hiding spots and effectively disappear. Silence. The sound of footsteps approaches and a woman talking. I can't help you with that, Jojo. You'll just have to make your own decisions, says Aaron. She stepped into the big room holding hands with an orangutan, its hair nicely combed and conditioned. The lights come on. Seeing the furniture moved and all the decorations, the orangutan puts her hands on her head in astonishment. Slowly, one at a time, her friends emerge from their hiding places and smile. She's shocked anew at each one. Aaron leads Jojo to a big plush chair brought in for the occasion. She's beyond ecstatic. It's your birthday, says Aaron aloud while simultaneously signing the message with her hands. I knew it was soon, Jojo signs back while Aaron translates for the others, but this is a big one. Everyone laughed and applauded very quietly by slapping their palms against their legs. Devin stepped forward to speak and sign. This is a big birthday. Hold up your hands. And he held his palms out facing her. Jojo held up her palms and Devin slapped them both with both of his. 1, 2, 3, 4. Jojo is thoroughly shocked. It takes her a minute to calm down. Where's the food? She signs, looking around. They all laughed. No translation required for that one. Tell us, signs Aaron. What do you want for your present? Jojo squirmed in the chair and finally replied, a leader. What does that mean, a leader? Aaron asked. A table on wheels appeared, loaded with tropical fruits, smoked fish, and sushi. Eat now, talk later, signed Jojo, and she delicately picked up a chunk of papaya and dipped it in honey. The late model SUV is driving down a country road. Teenage Nicola squirms in the passenger seat as her mother Connie drives. Is it much further? Nicola asks in obvious distress. Down the next road. You know where it is. You've driven by it your whole life. A ripping sound emerged from Nicola's bum, longer than expected. Connie looked at her, then back at the road. Twice. Mom! What, dear? Don't embarrass me when I'm farting. Sorry, young lady. Why didn't you go back at the college? You rushed me in such a hurry. Why are we talking to this guy? She looked out the window as fields and pastures flowed past. Connie made the last turn, then sped up to get there sooner. I don't know. He just said a project of mutual benefit has appeared. Maybe we'd be interested. And he asked for me? Are you lying? Connie looked at her daughter and debated all sorts of replies to confound her, which would have been fair, but instead said simply, no. They better have bathrooms there. If not, there's hay in the stables. Devin and Aaron met them at the front door of Ag Sci and introduced themselves. Hi, I'm Devin, head of Project Reach Out. And I'm Aaron, director of existential psychology. They escorted them around the facility. There was llamas, emus, donkeys, and capybaras, all of whom had been trained to communicate. Some came over to visit and were quite cogent. Nicola kept squeezing her legs together and grimacing. Aaron noticed and discreetly led Nicola to a bathroom and told her how to rejoin them in the forest room. The forest area is a large open space with skylights in the roof and the far wall open to the outside. It's filled with trees with thick branches and trunks. Wow, says Connie. When did you start work on this? About 40 years ago, Devin said with a start of realization. There's someone here who wants to meet you. As they talk, the door opens a crack and Nicola discreetly steps in. Up in the trees, an animal is approaching. A small orange ape with long arms. It's clean and well-groomed. It swings over slowly with acrobatic prowess. Nicola called out in enthusiasm and Jojo dropped down next to her. They hugged for a long time. Connie and the professors watched in silence. They all sat down to discuss business. I want to work with Nicola, Jojo signed and Aaron translated. On what? Nicola replied. Projects. How do you know about me? Nicola asked. I saw you on TV. Nicola thought about this for a moment and said, okay. Connie was shocked. Can you think about that a bit more, kid? Maybe 1 second is not enough. But Jojo and Nicola were far ahead. They logged into Patroni, a crowdfunding site for animals, and became partners. Nicola clicked confirm on her mobile, and on her laptop, Jojo did the same. Now they had a mutual account and could share funds. Well, that was fast, remarked Aaron. As they made their goodbyes, they all agreed to post the news to their mailing lists. I sure hope you know what you're doing, Connie said as they got in the car. Back at home, they talked about how busy the next little while will be and finally got to sleep. Days later, Connie was contacted by a local TV news reporter, Iphigenia Thompson. You can call me Iffy, she said. Let's do an interview. Back at Ag Sci, they met Iffy and the camera rolled on Jojo and Nicola. I'm her manager, Jojo announced. This was news to Nicola, but she quickly agreed. Do you think this will help you in the finals? Asked Iffy. I sure hope so, Nicola replied. We'll eat all the money we can gather, said Jojo, and everyone laughed. We're hoping this collaboration will help to restore Jojo's passion for life, said Devin. Aaron looked at him and smiled. The interview was aired, went viral, and the Patroni account swelled up with money. Finding arena time when Nicola can practice is a problem. The university rink is cheap, but only available at odd hours. Jojo rented time at Iceworks, the big commercial arena, with Nicola's full support. Jojo manages the finances. It is half hers, Nicola declared. It's only money, signed Jojo. At Iceworks, a worker said, You can't bring that animal in here. This animal is your client, says Connie. Rob, the owner, appeared and sized up the situation. The rule is, whoever pays for ice time gets to be here, unless committing crimes, he announced with finality. A grateful Connie thanked Rob profusely. But she has to put on some clothes, he says. Look, I can see her. Jojo turned and bent over, pointing her bum at him. Her rump. Nicola flowed smoothly across the ice like she was born to it. Her hand-me-down costume did nothing for her. Jojo watched from the stands wearing a basketball vest. Her knowledge of the sport was growing fast as Nicola learned sign language. After a frustrating practice with lots of errors, Nicola freestyle skated and landed all her jumps. A loud ripping sound erupted from Nicola's bottom, and everyone looked. Her costume had split. Okay, that's all for today, said Connie. The rich girls came out next. all confidence and arrogance, looking and skating great. They're the favorites. The provincial finals arrived and everyone was ready to go. Rob, the owner of Iceworks, is also the MC in the broadcast booth. Nicola had an excellent new costume and matching makeup, stars and galaxies on a black background. Connie and the professors wore their sensible best, and Jojo looked great with a suit jacket and tie and flattering new haircut. She watched from a private booth donated by a successful writer. Things look bad for Nicola. The other girls have turned in fantastic performances. Her rival has scored a 5.8, 3 5.9s, and a 6.0. Nicola goes last and needs an impossibly high score to win. Aaron escorted Jojo down to the ice to talk strategy with Nicola and Connie. The crowd is riveted at the sight of Jojo and quiets to a low murmur. This routine doesn't flow, sighed Jojo, waving her arms. It's like your nose is full. It doesn't breathe. But I have to do all the mandatory jumps, Nicola fires back. You have the jumps. Do them when you don't expect to, so you don't fear them. Your ice is the forest. Swing through your trees with joy. Be like the forest people and give up the ground. Dozens of competing thoughts and emotions played across her face. She became resolved and skated to the judges' table. After a brief chat, they all nod in agreement. She skated to her starting spot and found her balance. On a whim, she reached far forward to grip a pair of imaginary bars with her hands. As the music began, she released her hands and skated backward as if pulled by a great force, falling sideways towards a new point of gravity. A look of intensity came over her face that no one had seen before. She picked up speed, then flung her body in every direction, spiraling, twirling, twisting, and spinning. That's no routine, said Connie. She's just doing whatever she wants. As crescendos burst from the music, Nicola took to the air in a frenzy of double and triple axels, lutzes, toes, and saukows. Her arms and legs were everywhere, improvising a timeless message of striving against tyranny and emerging victorious. Finally, she lost her balance and fell onto her hands and knees. She flowed into a kneeling position to make it look intentional and slid to a halt. She bowed down in humility, her arms and face touching the ice, and reveled in the cold against her cheek and the darkness behind her eyelids. A deep breath came and went, and a billion tons of stress vanished off her shoulders. I've done my best, she thought. The audience exploded into applause. Unsteady and weeping, Nicola wobbled to her feet and skated to the kiss and cry zone where she sat between Jojo and Connie. What did you say to them? Asked Connie. I asked if I could do my new routine, she said between sobs. They said I could. You don't have a new routine, Connie shot back. I still don't. They laughed and hugged. How do you feel? Sighed Jojo. I feel empty, yet complete, like everything has been drained out of me, and now I'm at peace. I can't remember any of what I just did. You did best, sighed Jojo. The judge's score came out on the big board. 3 5.9s and 2 6.0s. Nicola had won with an almost perfect score. As one, the crowd leapt to their feet and the roar was deafening. Nicola rose and took Jojo by the hand. Together they stepped to the boards, stood before the crowd, and bowed. Jojo looked out in fascination. She had never seen so many people, and all of them were looking at her. She raised their arms in victory, and the shouting grew louder. Iffy appeared for the interviews. Nicola could hardly speak, but managed to thank Connie and Jojo. Iffy asked, Is there anything Jojo would like to say? She begins to sign, and Aaron translates. As the cameras rolled, Jojo spoke to the world, and the world listened. I love my nurses and my friends. They love me and are good to each other. When the stone people are good, they do many best things. But when they are bad, they are devils that kill the world until she is dead. They can take a piece of the forest, but why do they take all? Will every forest burn before they stop? Life cannot grow in cities of stone. She paused and wiped away tears. Why do the devils torture animals so cruelly? Even tigers are kinder. Please explain this to me. Why don't you listen? I may be the last of my kind. When my birthdays are done, my people die with me. Again she paused, overcome with emotion. Devin and Aaron shared glances as they realized she'd been watching nature shows and understanding them. She signed again. But now it is different. I have found my dancer, and the stone people must listen. She is my leader, and together we will fight. She folded her arms above her head and turned her back to the crowd. Nicola hugged her with one arm and waved in victory with the other. A chaotic murmur grew from the audience. Could this be real? Is this actually happening? It seemed so bizarre, so surreal. Back in the booth, everyone gathered to celebrate. Connie chatted with Rob about child rearing and running a business. Devin and Aaron nattered in a language only they could understand. And Nicola gushed her life story to Iffy, who nodded politely. Caterers, crew, and extras bulled in the background amid tables piled high with fruit and sushi. The bathroom door opened. The toilet was flushing and the light went out. Jojo stepped out, waving her arms as if dispelling a bad odor. She went to the bar and got a grapefruit beer and some furumaki rolls, then twirled through the room in ecstasy. She hugged Nicola from behind, who welcomed her touch and was glad she didn't feel up her boobs. Aaron and Devin called her over. Happy now? Signed Devin. This'll do, she replied. The news story about them came on and all the big TVs switched to it. Iffy appeared on screen and everyone sat down to watch. A hopeful young girl, a modern sport, and the strangest of allies all came together today to make history. An observation, a condemnation, and a sliver of hope that one day all of us will do better. Our story begins. Jojo went back to the food table. Her eyes sparkled as her fingers hovered over sushi. She watched her laptop as the joint account filled with money. Stay tuned for the next exciting episode. Jojo and Nicola versus poachers on Turtle Beach. Happy birthday, Nicola.